Well, welcome back to the In Good Company podcast. I'm your host, Mike, and this is season 2 at our brand new studio, The Content House. And I cannot think of a better first guest to have in season 2 than a longtime friend, someone who we had mutual friends for years, and we ultimately worked together for a while. Yep. And I've followed his business for so many years. And if you're an aspiring entrepreneur, someone that doesn't just want to talk about it, but you actually want to put steps in place to make your dreams happen, there's no one better to talk to than Luke Abbott. Welcome.
I appreciate you having me on, brother.
Yeah, dude.
Excited to be here.
It's good to have you, man. Yeah. So give us a little bit of a rundown of your story. Like, obviously, I know bits and pieces, but just kind of rewind. Where did you grow up? Like, what got you started? And would love to hear your story.
So my story, I mean, how in depth do you want to go? I mean,
bro, we got time, baby.
All right, okay.
Season 2.
If time's not an issue, then all right, let me dive into it. I haven't told my story a lot. I know on Facebook I've given little bits and pieces here and there.
Yeah.
You know, to the audience. So I grew up in a small town called Manchester, Shortsville. My grandfather and his brother were entrepreneurs. They, started out with a moving company down south in Virginia.
Yeah.
Moved up here, bought a ton of farmland, hundreds of acres of farmland. Built 4 businesses, a restaurant, a gas station, 2 motels, right? So my father eventually took over the restaurant. And that's kind of like the business I grew up in.
Yeah.
The restaurant business.
Yeah.
So, growing up, I was always in the business. My parents were always busy. I grew up with a lot of babysitters. There was, if you worked at the restaurant, you were basically, if you weren't working that night, you were babysitting us kids because my parents were always working.
Yeah.
Which then led to, just life was always kind of a party. I mean, that restaurant business back in the day, the stakeout restaurant.
Yeah.
The late 80s, early 90s, you were there, you were partying.
Oh, can't imagine.
It was wild. So this all led, and I'm gonna run through this kind of
Bro,
quick.
that's great.
So I'm not gonna give all the details. So basically, I grew up with a lot of babysitters. We took like a family vacation, a couple times a year. From the outside looking in, everything looked great, right? My parents were making a lot of money. We looked like we had the perfect family, but there was a lot of, hostility behind the scenes because, there's 5 of us kids and they were trying to run a restaurant, which they were doing, but they were also partying a lot, using drugs, alcohol, things like that. So I saw this all growing up along with my brother, and which eventually led to my parents, splitting up. I was 15 years old when they split up. So fast forward out of there, coming from a broken family, mother went to rehab. She's great now. Everything is good.
Awesome.
Like, she's been sober for 25 years.
Wow.
Amazing lady. She works for me. She works for both companies. She's the smile on the phone when you call up, all clean.
Yeah.
And the roofing company. Everybody loves her.
Met her a few times. Great lady.
Awesome lady. So she was able to, come out of that, right? So, after, graduating high school, married my high school sweetheart, Candace. You've met her.
Yeah.
I fell into my own addictions too.
Yep.
Later on in life, after high school, pretty much my entire 20s, I had no purpose. I was just going to work, wasn't happy, trying to figure out, what I wanted to do. And that led me into a deep addiction with cocaine and alcohol abuse. So that's where I really started losing myself in my late 20s. I'm 37 now.
Yeah.
It was when we had our daughter is when I started finding purpose. Children change a lot.
No doubt, man.
You know this. You have your own kids at home. So that's in a nutshell the story. That's a fast version of my childhood going into where, having my first child. And, if we're going to go into the story of how the business started, I was working at the city of Canandaigua at the time, as a garbage man.
Yeah.
And before I got into the city of Canandaigua, I had left my union job, which I had built up a 401k, and I cashed it out, as soon as I transferred jobs and positions. Just because I was taking a pay cut going into a new position at the city of Canandaigua, I had small little credit card debt. So I paid it off. I was debt free. Fast forward a year later, my accountant called me and she said, "Listen, Luke, are you sitting down?" I was on vacation. I was on vacation at the time. And I took the phone call. Everybody was down at the beach. I was sitting up in the hotel room. And she's like, "You owe $15,000 to IRS." I'm like, "You're kidding me." Right? So back then, it's a lot of money. It's still a lot of money now.
No doubt, yeah.
But didn't have it. And I never have felt that feeling in my life where I felt like I failed big time because I have, a daughter.
Yeah,
I
no
just
doubt.
had my son. We're on vacation. I'm like, how am I going to pay this back? So get home. That's when the problem solving starts happening, right? And I'm sitting there for a month, picking garbage, talking to my buddy in the garbage truck, like every single day. I'm stressing out. I'm on the phone with the IRS, like trying to get like extended payments. And there was one day I had a pressure washer sitting in my garage. And I looked at it, I'm like, I wonder if I can leverage this piece of equipment to start making money. And from that point on, it was just game on. That's where everything changed. That debt that I had accrued, that mistake that I made, ended up being the best thing for me because it ultimately pulled me out of finding purpose.
Yep.
It pulled me out of the addiction that I was facing at the time, the alcohol and cocaine addiction, which I had been clean for a couple of years, but I still had.
Sure.
And I still have addictive personalities, tendencies now. It doesn't go away. I just started utilizing those addictive, traits in a healthier manner.
Interesting.
For
Yeah.
business, right?
Yeah.
So that's a very fast story of like my upbringing.
Yeah.
And getting into business.
Yeah.
That's how it started.
Dude, first off, thanks for sharing that, man. I think like there's a lot of people that specifically on social media where it's like you want to kind of show the best parts of your life and here's the smiling family and the healthy, happy kids and, all those things. And I just think that people value real life and real stories of overcoming. And, again, for you to sit here to start a business by looking at a piece of equipment in your garage, fast forward to what is all clean today. You've got a beautiful facility. You guys are like, you've emerged into like holiday lighting. Bro, there's like so many details within All Clean.
It's kind of evolved, right? At first season, it was just me trying to figure everything out.
Yep.
Just clean everything that's coming my way.
And what year did this start again?
That was 2017.
Okay.
I worked by myself in 2017. 2018, I was alone. And then 2019 is when we brought our first employee in, Jonathan Moore. So it's an evolution, right? Like what everybody sees now, they didn't see the beginning.
Yeah.
It was a grind. It was hard, man. Like people like, and I don't tell my story enough. This story I'm sharing with you and being genuine and authentic, it's how I live my life.
Yeah.
People didn't see the beginning stages of, when I was picking garbage. I worked from 6 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon. I'd go out and wash a house or two afterwards. I was missing dinners. I was missing bedtime sometimes, when it's 9 o'clock at night and it's still light out. I was still out working. Kids were in bed sometimes when I got home. And then it was really like weighing on Candace, being home all the time. She was working a full-time job too at the time. So a lot of people didn't see that. But that was the sacrifice and the living out of balance that I was willing to do.
Yeah.
Just because, I paid that debt back in the first season too, by the way, that $15,000. So.
Well, let me just pause for a second there because I think there's a lot of entrepreneurs that they want to go all in and then they do, but they maybe don't have the buy-in from a spouse or the support from that partner. Talk about the value and the benefit of Candace and through all the seasons of addiction to starting a business to, where you guys are at today.
Oh, man. You got to bring up the wifey. She gets me emotional because, dude, she's... I wasn't thinking I was going to start getting emotional on this, but she's my rock. She's always been there for literally everything, man. Like, when I finally told her I was addicted to cocaine, she didn't run. she stood right by my side. And that alone, and then you start getting into business and all the hard times and hardships that come with business. Man, I don't have words for her. She knows I love her.
Yeah.
And I ain't going anywhere, and she's not going anywhere either.
Yeah. When you're able to live from a place of support like that.
But you have to have somebody in your life like that. If you're going to build something of this magnitude and keep going, you have to have someone who's a rock in your corner.
Yep.
Period.
Yep.
And if you don't, then it's just not going to work.
Yeah.
You're either going to end up divorced or you're not going to pursue your dream that you wanted to go after.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that there's people on the opposite side of that spectrum. There's people that they do choose to build the thing, but they're sacrificing the wrong thing to do it. So they're building the business and they sacrifice their family, right? And we see these stories all the time of these people all over social media that are traveling every week and they're speaking at sold out events and they got these big podcasts and stuff, but their family's busted up,
left in the dust,
broken, right?
Yeah.
How, for someone that's listening, how have you, having experienced kind of the opposite side of this spectrum, how have you been able to build your business today that still makes time for you and your family? It still really invites your family into the business.
Well, it was those beginning stages, man, where I did live my life out of balance.
Yeah.
I wasn't seeing my kids as much as I should have, by any means. And I look back at pictures and some of those summers, and I was just like, I wasn't there. But that was part of the sacrifice. And I just kept telling Candace, so there was one point where she looked at me in the kitchen. She's like, "Hun, I can't keep doing this." I was working a full-time job. I was building the business. I said, "Give me one more year. I promise you it'll be worth it. I promise you." And I told her straight up, I go, "I'm not giving up pressure washing. I'm going to pursue it. Just give me one more year." Fast forward a year later, I was able to retire her from working, which she always wanted to be at home with the kids, taking care of the household. And then I was able to get myself in a position where I was able to leave my full-time job, focus on the business, focus on building the systems, focus on hiring the right team so that I could free up more of my time. Before my kids started getting into sports and things like that. Because that was really important to me, is being able, I don't miss a sporting event now.
Yeah.
A school function, I'm there for them. That's non-negotiable.
Yeah.
Do I still miss certain things here and there? Yeah. If I think there's something important that has to do with business that will help my family's financial future, sure. I'm going to take an opportunity to network at a certain time. But there's those things I'm able to pick and choose now where I want to be, what I want to do. And then we take family vacations multiple times a year. Those are non-negotiable. You have to do it. That's where I really connect with the kids.
Yeah.
And it's important.
It's awesome, man. Yeah, I think, and there's certainly seasons of this, but I think that we live in this very grind culture where, again, a lot of accounts and podcasts and whatever else, it's just, you got to grind, you got to grind, you got to grind. There's a seasons to do that, 100%. But talk about emerging from grind, and again, being in a position where now you can make time to go on vacations. You're a guy that invests in gurus, mentors, people that are maybe a few years ahead of you, and you'll bring your wife and you'll go to those conferences and go to those events because you've built in the margin to not just be grinding 24/7, but to be strategic about how you're spending your time. Talk about, why is that a value to you?
A value as far as being, reiterate that again.
Yeah, why is it a value for you to be not just stuck in the grind, but you're actually forward moving, right? You're getting mentors, you're going to conferences, things like that.
Yeah, so I get what you're saying now. I mean, I'm a visionary. I'm the leader of the organization now, so I can't be stuck in the day-to-day, working in the field, selling the jobs. I've hired the right team specifically to put in place to be able to focus on certain things so I can go out and network with high-level guys and girls. and go to those events, I have to keep sharpening my own axe and learning new things and focusing on the vision and working on the business in that aspect, so it's better for everyone else involved.
Yeah.
The entire team. Just because I'm not going to lay stagnant.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not looking at it like, oh, I've reached this ceiling, I'm good. I've never been like that. I'm not built like that.
Yeah.
So, and then like you said, you know, bringing my wife to these events. I love bringing her too.
Yeah.
She's a sponge.
Yeah.
She is so smart. And if I'm not the best at retaining things, I have ADHD. It's a fact. I mean, I have a hard time retaining, you know, reading things and fully understanding it the first time. So I bring her because she is, like I said, a sponge.
She's got it. Yeah.
And then when we're home, and if I'm struggling on something, like last night, you know, he sent me a few questions about today's podcast.
Yeah.
I'm talking with her about it.
Yeah.
Because she thinks of things that I just don't.
Yeah.
She's an amazing support system.
Yeah.
She's a rock. She's supportive.
Yeah.
She's smart.
Yeah, and it's valuable that she is included too.
Absolutely.
Because I think that you can have a rock, you can have a support system, but then you can still kind of just lean on it instead of actually bring it with you, you know. And I think you've done an incredible job, and I just want you to know, man, like I'm encouraged by that. Again, we may not be as, you know, tight or whatever in our day to day, but it's like I see what you guys are doing. I see the way you're investing in that, and it's inspiring, you know. So continue to do it, man. It's really cool.
Likewise.
Appreciate
Likewise,
it, man.
brother.
Yeah. One of my favorite parts on our podcast that we do, because I think business is very just very showy. Like I think someone can look at All Clean today and go like, oh, it must be nice to own a business like that. And they don't know anything about the debt and the, you know, whatever.
Yeah, it must be nice.
Right. So one of my favorite parts of the podcast is we do this thing called Fails of the Week.
Yeah.
And this could be maybe a story from this week, or it could be from the history of All Clean, where it's like there was just a really bad fail that you would never share publicly, but we're going to share it today just to give you know, entrepreneurs encouragement that, hey, it's not all just butterflies and rainbows.
It's not. I mean, I've got a couple this week.
Beautiful.
So we hired on a new position, an in-house sales position. We're really excited about this girl to just crush it this season. She's with us for a couple weeks. She's doing great. She's learning. 2:30 in the morning the other day, she just resigns. Boom.
Great.
Done. On to the next, right? We all are kind of looking at each other, like my production manager, my ops manager, my office manager. We're just like, well, that didn't last long. What happened there? So anyways, now we're back into the pool of looking for an in-house sales representative.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, is it a fail? No, it's not. But you know, at the same time, we had also invested time, effort, money to bring her in, and now we have to do it all over again, right? So whatever, you know, time to figure it out again.
Yeah.
So then the other thing was, and I'm going to go a little bit deeper on this. We got denied for a loan, a building loan that we've already dug the ground out, put the foundation in, we're ready to go.
Oof.
And the bank denied us this loan. This bank has also denied us previously last year. So I will be searching for a new bank.
Yeah.
And
it sounds like it. Yeah.
now they denied this loan, but you know what that means is when one door shuts, a new one opens. They were the same bank that denied us a $50,000 increase on our line of credit last season.
Yeah.
When we went to another bank and they gave us a $350,000 line of credit.
Yeah.
So when one door closes, another one's open. You either want to work with us or you don't want to work with us at this point.
Yeah.
Because we're going up. You want to come with us or not?
So that is a critically important principle in business, where if your security is based on the opinions of other people, other professionals, other businesses, if you were not confident in your business and yourself, that could derail you. Meaning, salesman quits. Oh man, what have I done? Maybe my business isn't as good as I thought. Bank doesn't give you a loan. Oh my gosh, maybe my business isn't ready to expand and to do these things. But because you're secure, because you are secure in who you are, you know what you're capable of, what your team, your business is capable of. Your perspective is on to the next. For someone that's listening, though, that maybe teeters more towards listening to the opinions of others, it really derails them, and it takes them a long time to kind of build the courage back up. What advice might you have for someone that's kind of in that camp?
Like I said, one door closes, another one opens. I mean, when a customer says no, there's always a customer that's going to say yes.
Yeah.
And if there's a vendor out there that says no, there's a vendor that's going to say yes. If a bank doesn't want to lend you money, there's going to be another bank ready to lend you money. It is an ongoing cycle. If you give up after one no, you just stay out of business.
Yeah.
Don't even get into business.
Yeah.
I think that my upbringing also has kind of calloused me into dealing with hard times and trying to figure out solutions. And in the addictions that I face, like I've put myself through some hard times physically and mentally.
Yeah.
That there's not much right now that can turn me away or scare me or.
And you also, which I wanted to get into this, and I think it's a good time to do it. You all like fitness, discipline. That's a huge part of your life too. I've got to imagine that there's some unison there between building a business, waking up early, hitting the gym. Talk a little bit about why has that been a priority for you in your life?
It builds mental toughness. I've worked out. Always had a gym routine since I was 15 years old. Used to watch my father and his friend work out in the basement. Grew up watching Arnold Schwarzenegger on all the films, right? So I always looked up to that physique, and that kind of male role model. And I just started working out. At first, it just kind of started out as I just wanted big muscles, right?
Yeah.
Everybody wants big muscles. Now I have many whys and why fitness is so important to me. First of all, it makes me feel good. I like feeling good. I like feeling strong.
Yeah.
I like to see what I'm looking at in the mirror. And then, I also like to look good for my wife.
Yeah.
I want my kids to think and look up to me like I'm the strongest person in the world, the hero. And my peers, I'm leading a lot of people in business, and I want to give them someone healthy to look up to that has structure and discipline.
Yep.
And all those things are so important to me and why I do it.
Yeah.
And how I start my day is every single day. I work out 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Cold plunge in the morning.
Yep.
Right to the gym afterwards.
Yep.
And then I'm ready for the day.
Bro, the cold plunge, man.
Yeah.
Woof.
Yeah, I love it. It's a shock to the system.
I don't know if I've shared this story before. We had a client down in, you're going to love this story. We had a client down in Boca Raton, Florida. Uh-huh. They were doing like a 3-day sales training for medical sales. It was this huge, whatever. They had like 15, 20 sales guys. They brought 2 retired Navy SEALs to basically just destroy them on Boca Raton Beach.
That's awesome.
And well, I'm just the camera guy, and I'm just watching people puking and like just sandbags and sprinting and like the whole deal. And they concluded it with an ice bath. And what they wanted you to do is actually not just sit in it, but submerge your head for 10 seconds. So I'm recording all these people. We're doing the stuff. And then one of the guys that's running the program just looks at me and says, Mike, you want to hop in? And I'm like, sure. Like I've been watching people do it. Like we got this. And bro, there's a video on my Instagram somewhere that's I went under the first time and my body like just immediately jolted me up.
Yeah.
Like there's no other way for me to describe it for someone that hasn't been in one.
Yeah.
And then I did it again, didn't work. And then I literally say out of my mouth, I go, all right, I'm going to try one more time. And the dude gets in my face and he's like, no, there is no try. He goes, you're going to do this. Yeah. He goes, say it. And I go, I'm going to do this. Yeah. And I go under for 10 seconds and I come back up and everybody's cheering and whatever. And I'm like,
it's a lot of mental.
Bro, it was just, and like to this day, it's like, I still don't quite know what was the difference between the first try and the third try. Like mental.
Right? Yeah. 100%. You'll psych yourself out. If you're just like tense going in, you're going to be tense the entire time. You have to calm your mind. I mean,
Dude.
And I don't overthink it either. Like you just jump in, go, and then control your breathing. Yeah. Controlling your breathing is like a big part of it. Yeah, it's tough. The first time you do it, you're like, try to catch your breath, but
crazy.
Get used to it.
Does Candace try that, or
she has? She has. It's not something that's really stuck with her in her routine. She's got other things she sticks to with her routine, but for me, I've always had a hard time finding out, this is going to be controversial, but things that I like to put into my routine, because you're also supposed to put things in your routine that you necessarily don't like.
Understood,
and it's uncomfortable, right? But the cold plunge, I just was so attracted to it from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Because of how it made me feel. You could go in, you could be in a bad mood. You go in the cold plunge, you come out, you're in a good mood.
Yeah.
You completely forgot about anything that was on your mind before that.
You're just trying to survive.
Yeah. Your body's trying to survive.
Yeah.
And then, it's that endorphin rush. It's the, they try to compare it to a cocaine high.
Sure.
For hours. For me, I don't, I've done cocaine. And the cold plunge doesn't do that for me, but it does give me that energetic feeling afterwards, because you're going to go in tired. You're not coming out tired.
Yeah.
You're ready for the day.
Yeah.
You don't even need coffee afterwards.
Yeah.
Just ready to go.
Dude, that's so encouraging, man, because the other thing I've seen is as you pursue that discipline and those practices in your morning, like there's occasions where I see like some of the All Clean boys like Jake and whoever else are just like at the gym with you in the morning. And it actually, it encourages your team to raise their level. It's like the rising tide lifts all ships kind of deal.
Yeah, it's kind of what's most important to me is building that culture of a standard.
Yeah.
Of just having, routine, structure, and that discipline. And I want people around me like that. So, most of the people I find working for us now are at the gym.
Yeah.
I just picked up 2 guys in the last couple weeks from the gym.
Yeah.
So
speaking of that, and whether it's employees or products or whatever, or services, we had conversations years ago of like you're always branded out, always be selling. Like, bro, you are. Whether it's recruiting someone to come work with you guys, or it's just like, like we could help this. I mean, you have commercial clients that are like really strong, established brands and businesses that people would go, how the hell did you land those people? It's like, so talk about, what has that process been like? Maybe it just comes natural to you to kind of always be selling.
Yeah, it does.
Brand,
because I grew up in the restaurant business. You have no choice. You have to talk to people. I was a busboy.
Right.
So I'm cleaning up tables. I'm just mingling with people, the waitresses, the waiters, the bartenders. So that's how I grew up, talking to people. And if I have any piece of advice for anybody looking to be an entrepreneur, just talk to people. Seriously, like I go to the gym, and if I walk by you and I'm making eye contact with you, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
And that leads into, who are you? What do you do?
Yeah.
And I do the same thing with networking. All these high-end clients, it's, I don't know, people can sense bullshit.
Sure.
Sorry if I'm
No, you're good. You're good.
People sense bullshit, and I like to pride myself on being genuine, authentic, and I know people feel that from me.
For sure.
So I think that's had a lot of, why I've had so much success in some of these large clients, because we're taking care of Galisano.
Yeah,
they're taking care of the Sands families, and many others, large corporations.
Yeah.
And I like to tell people at the end of the day, like, listen, I'm gonna do everything in my power to take care of you, and make sure you're happy at the end of the day. Shake their hand, look them in the eye, and there's something to be said about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the other kind of final questions around the business that I just want to hit before we get off.
Mm-hmm.
I think during COVID especially, there was kind of this surge of people that were like, hey, maybe I can start a business. Maybe I can, there was just kind of this like this boom, this opportunity. Yeah. People were, the great resignation. People were quitting their jobs, and I'm going to quit my 9-to-5 and start this thing and whatever. But there's now a chapter of people that started as a solopreneur.
Yeah.
And now they're trying to build a legitimate business. So you talk about you're in your garage, you see the power washer, you're like, cool, I'm going to do this. Now you're talking about expanding the building, hiring people. Mm-hmm. Do we have employees with 401k and health insurance and blah, blah, blah. Like there's all these other chapters. When you're in that pocket between like being a solopreneur and becoming this entrepreneur, there's all those steps that you got to take. What is something that maybe you wish you knew, or what did you kind of learn in that tweener type of process?
Oh man, there's just so many little steps along the way. There's so many aha moments. But if somebody were to come to me my first season and give me any bit of advice, oh man, That's a tough one, Mikey.
Yeah.
I can't really think of anything because you're stumping me right now.
Like, is it harder than you thought it would be? Is it, did you have to get the right people around you in order to like go places that you've never been? Like,
well, if if we're going to be honest here, if someone were to come tell me early on in starting the pressure washing business to where I am now, they should have told me get into a business as far as like roofing, HVAC, plumbing, something along the trades like
Sure.
that versus pressure washing. Don't get me wrong. The business we're building and everything that I've accomplished, I am so proud of.
oh yeah,
And we're still going. Like, it's not going anywhere. But it takes a high volume of jobs to
Yeah.
get to where we are, and so much overhead.
yeah,
And to be profitable at the stage we're in, it's been difficult the last couple of years. Last year was a great season, and we're starting to get profitable again, back into the double digits of profit, right?
yeah.
But the years before that, in the hyper growth mode, building, employees,
no doubt.
systems, technology, oh yeah, like profits chewed up.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And then businesses are rejecting your loan requests.
well, yeah, but yeah, like we have trail now to show that we can,
yeah.
yeah. What just happened this past week was total BS.
Yeah.
And we're going to find another partner to help and want to grow with us. So
Yeah.
I'm not too worried about that.
No, it's good, man. But again, I think it's good advice, right? It's like the Bible talks about, like, count the cost before you decide to step into something,
Yeah.
essentially, right? So it's,
Yeah, I mean, like, quick math. Like, we serviced 2,500 customers last season in a 9-month span with
Yeah.
an average ticket of $900.
Yeah.
It's a $2.5 million company.
yeah,
Had I been doing that in roofing with an average ticket of 15 grand, 2,500 customers,
We're in a
you're
different
talking $37 million company.
got it.
Much bigger potatoes, right?
Yeah, dude.
So now that's why I'm transitioning into the roofing business.
Yeah.
You ask what you now, and I know we're going to go there in
Yeah.
this conversation.
Yeah.
I'm looking at, All Clean, great company, great opportunity for everybody who's involved on the team to build it, grow it, kind of make it their dream too.
Yeah.
So I oversee, the difficult questions in that business. All Clean takes about 10% of my time now,
Yeah.
where I can focus on building this roofing company and roofing, siding, windows, gutters, and then build that massive company that
Yeah.
I want to do now. It's a graduation step.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, the benefit of building something that doesn't require you anymore is that it obviously frees up your time to go build something else.
Yep.
And I think that as you see people all over that are building generational wealth, that's exactly what they're doing, right? They are
Yeah.
building things that no longer require them.
Yeah.
Talk about that for a second. How did that happen? Like you're saying it flippantly, like, oh, it only requires 10% of my time, like this and that.
Yeah.
But there's a journey there. Like you
There's a
can't just jump out and go like, yeah, this is great. Like on to
Yeah.
the next thing. Like talk a little bit about that process.
Well, when I brought my first employee in 2019, the year before that, I said I was never going to hire anybody. And look where we are now. We got close to 30 people. And 2019, I hired Jonathan. And then 2020, hired a couple more people. And I'm looking, and then I'm still working on my house in 2020. And I'm looking out the window, and I got trucks parked on the lawn. My garage is overridden with chemicals and you name it. And I'm looking out, and that's when my wheels start turning. Like, if I want this to be a business, and I want good employees, to show up every day and be excited about where they're working, do I want them coming in my house garage every day?
Right.
No, absolutely
Right,
not. That's
right.
that's not feasible.
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay, I want to build a shop. I want a nice place for people to come to. So that was a stepping stone and a progression. So then once we got the building and everything, then it was like, okay, we're marketing. We're converting. We're doing more work. We're bringing in revenue. I need to hire more employees. Okay, now we have 6 technicians. I'm still at the helm doing everything. My life is a nightmare still.
Sure.
So then it's like, okay, I need to get out of my own way, which is a very important piece of the puzzle.
Yep.
Business owners don't get out of their own way.
Yep.
And I talk to so many business owners that are just like, I don't know what to do. I can't hire anybody.
Don't have time. Yeah.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
You're just not doing it. It's hard. So you got to get out of your own way. Hired an office manager. Office manager, amazing. Came in, took so much off my plate. I was able to focus on the technicians and the sales. Okay, all right, now I got to graduate out of sales. Hire a salesman to run outside sales. Hire 2 more technicians. And then it was the operations manager, Jake, that I brought on. You've met Jake.
Oh,
he is a stud. Yeah, super smart.
Yeah.
I'm not a very technological, like, advanced person.
Sure.
I don't love software. It doesn't get me going. Like maybe some of you guys with all these cameras and stuff. I am like a handshaker.
Yeah.
Land a big client, hang out, network, lead the team, be a positive role model. Like those are my strong suits. Jake comes in and makes something that is so hard for me to do so easy and puts more systems in place. And then it was, once that role was filled, freed up a lot more of my time to focus on what's truly important: culture building, leading, vision. And then it was like bringing a production manager to lead the technicians now, because Jake was getting overloaded with trying to do it all. So there's just so many pieces of. We probably went off subject a little bit.
No, dude,
I'm just telling you like the kind of progression
fantastic.
of like the business. And
I just think like the only thing I wanted to say is if you are a leader of people in any capacity, you can't take people somewhere that you have not gone yourself.
Oh yeah.
You can try.
Yep.
But people will spot BS,
Absolutely.
a lack of integrity. It will be like, well, dude, you're not even putting in the work, and you're asking me to work late hours at night and this and that.
Yep.
And you've been able to do that, right? And again, not just in your history with your story, but even now, I mean, you are still putting in the time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like there's been a couple times last season, I'll still get out in a truck if I need to help out. I'll get out there.
Yep.
I'm not better than that.
Yep.
Do I want to be out there focusing on that? No, it's frustrating sometimes when I get out there and my phone's ringing.
Sure.
I got to focus on something else, but whatever. But that's why when I bring people in, like as a management position, especially the men that are leading the technicians in that department, you're getting out in the field. You're working with them.
Yep.
Because the last thing I want is, a lack of respect for a higher up, let's call it.
Yeah.
In the company.
Yeah.
So Jake goes out there. He's busting his butt. He's learning exactly what these guys are going through all day, every day. Steve has been out there doing everything with these guys, learning what it's like. It's very important because I've worked with people in the past for other companies that have just come out of school and just climb into a position. They have no idea what it's like being down in the trenches.
Oh, yeah.
You don't get respect that way. So.
Yep. Yeah, I don't want to pick on the young generation, right? But it's like, these. I mean, I run a marketing agency, so I can't hold a tool to save my life. But the kind of with this generation, right? There is a lot of creativity. There's a lot of like learning from behind their phone. So as we close, I want you to project what is your business or what are the businesses look like for you in the next 10 years from now. Think about how old your kiddos are going to be.
Oh man.
How many years you guys are going to be married at that point. Like
10 years.
You're going to be 10 years older. What do you kind of see for Luke Abbott and your businesses?
10 years. My daughter will be 20. My son will be 18.
Whoa.
I'll be 47.
Whoa.
No, I'll be 48. I just turned 38. Jeez, I forget.
You're like, no!
Oh, man. 10 years out? Oh, 10 years. I have 3 years out plans.
Yeah.
So let's talk about those.
Okay.
3 years out, obviously Rochester branch is going to be doing at least minimal $5 million in revenue.
Yep.
And a healthier margin, closer to that 20% margin, right? Buffalo location will be well adapted, doing $3 million a year. North Carolina branch.
Let's go.
Yeah, we got my buddy Jeff is running that branch right now, and he is a stud, strong operator. And, you know, we foresee, based on the market data, that that's going to be a $2 million company in about 3 years. So, you know, between all those, a $10 million business in exterior cleaning. Also, we're going to be sprinkling in mold remediation.
Oh,
at
great.
At the All Clean Rochester headquarters
Great.
within the year. So I don't look 10 years out, man. I just
That's
don't.
great. Yeah.
We're looking 1 to 3 years out. And as far as the roofing business goes, in a 3-year period, I want to see $30 million.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Based off of Syracuse, Rochester, Buffalo.
Yeah.
All ran out of the Rochester headquarters. So
It's great,
yeah,
man.
got some big
Well, dude,
goals here.
we're gonna watch this back in 3 years from now.
Yeah.
And I mean, hopefully we watch it more than that. But let me finish with this. We have our hot seat rapid fire questions that I want to rattle through. These are quick, 1 word, 1 sentence responses. I'm gonna rattle through them. Here we go. If you could power wash a skyscraper or the Grand Canyon, what are you power washing, bro?
Skyscraper.
That's probably an easy one.
Yeah. Money there.
Do you prefer an early morning workout or a late night grind session?
Early morning, all day.
Early morning.
Yep.
Biggest business flex, unlimited clients or unlimited travel?
Unlimited clients.
All right.
All day.
All right.
These are easy.
I love this one. Would you rather fight 1 horse-sized pressure washer or 10 duck-sized
Oh, my
ones?
God.
And these are the intense ones that can, like, cut your skin off, pressure washers.
Oh,
You know what I'm
man.
saying? This is, yeah.
I'm a pretty tall, strong dude. I could handle 1 horse size.
Okay.
I don't want 10 minutes.
10 ducks
It'd be
is
too
tough,
quick.
bro. You can tell you grew up in Canandaigua. You're like, I've seen some ducks, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, those things.
The seagulls down by the lake, man. Watch out for those.
Yeah. When you guys are taking your ideal family vacations, mountains or beach?
Man, there's a time and place for both, but if I were to pick one, mountains, absolutely. We love taking the kids to Sedona, and there's nothing
Love
like
it.
Yeah.
Love it. Worst thing you've ever had to power wash?
Grease trap. Grease is the worst thing to power wash, and we're not doing it.
Would you, final one, this is going to be my absolute favorite. Would you rather never work out again or never own a business again?
God. Why would you ask me that?
Bro, this is the hot seat.
See, oh, man. So, business does so much for me and fills up my cup so much that I could never give up business, and I could never work for somebody else. So, I'd have to give up working out.
Maybe you could do push-ups or something. Maybe we're allowed.
That's working out.
No, I know, but maybe there's something.
Yeah. Dude, I gave up working out for 2 years when I first started, so
Wow.
I focused on the business. I dropped 30 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Well,
I can do
dude,
it.
thank you so much, man, for the time. Again, second season is a dream come true to have this space and to have you kick it off. And really looking forward, man, to seeing all the things that happen in both your family, your business, everything that's coming up. And any last quick thing you want to say to those listening that kind of one last zinger to send them home with?
Yeah, don't give up. The journey is worth it. If you truly think you're an entrepreneur, dive in and go after it. It's going to be hard. You'll get used to it. I promise you.
Yeah.
Listen, blood, sweat, and tears. I've done every single one of them multiple times. And you'll get through it.
Yeah.
As long as you're still breathing, you're going to be good.
It's awesome, man.
You're going to be good.
Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in to the In Good Company podcast, where we believe that the best parts in business happen in good company. We'll see you next time.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you,
Thanks,
buddy.
brother.